Oh, Rod, you're the big screen. I thought you were the host. If that's the case, so
I'm not the host of the
then,
wrestling
Rod.
show.
You know what? That's right. I'm the big screen. Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know Podcasting Network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rob. We got a lot to talk about, but first, Chris, give me an old man take.
So we've been talking a lot, at least I have, about bringing wrestling into the 21st century, all right? And we can't stop with the VAR and things like that. There's something else that we need to have happen, all right? And it was brought up a little bit last week when we were talking about the instant replay and who's going to be there to protect these referees, all right? These are little guys. They're not big. They can't compete in the ring with these professional wrestlers. So what we need to do is we need to unionize these referees, all right? And we need somebody that has the cojones to run this referee union. And who is somebody that may be out of a job soon that likes to control and have control over the WWE? That's Paul Heyman. Let's get Paul Heyman to be the head of the referee union, create a new faction within the WWE, and let's get this moving into the 21st century, fellas.
That is, I mean, I'm pretty sure we had a bit of an angle with referees and different Hebner brothers at one time, Jimmy. I wasn't really as frequent during that time, but I think that happened. Something maybe similar to what Chris is bringing up.
Well, we did have a faction, Chris, called the Union. And guess who was in charge of the Union?
Was it Paul Heyman? Was it really?
No. Someone, you know what? I'll give you 5 guesses who was in charge. I don't think you're going to get it.
I think I know.
Heartbreak Kid.
No. Was not in the Union.
I
need to look up all the members, actually.
Let's see. No, he was a capitalist.
Okay, so I have not looked them up yet. I will tell you some of the members of the Union.
Was it Stone Cold in that thing?
I don't know if he was part of the Union. The Union was definitely Test. Stone Cold might have had a little jaunt in there. I don't know. Ken Shamrock was in the Union, but its leader, Chris. Come on, dude.
No idea. No idea.
Paul White was in the Union. Mankind was in the Union.
Steve
Guess
Blackman?
who also was in the Union?
Local
Vincent
Sabres
Kennedy McMahon was in the Union of the funniest thing ever, where wrestling is just a story. Your boy, my boy, and our boy, Vince McMahon, was part of the Union.
How can the head of corporate be in the Union? That makes no sense.
They were going against the corporort ministry, I think, at the time. Rod, you're the well, I don't know, Chris. You've been to more concerts than Rod because you've been around longer than Rod. But Rod, you are our resident music expert because of your other profession that you actually get paid for. What better opening line for a song for a group called the Union than Union? That
Union.
was their opening line. That was their opening line.
So you could do that song Western Union. I believe that's an old like 60s song, right? Like the Dave Clark 5 or like one of those groups. Western Union. Dun, 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 dun.
I definitely
wasn't Dave Clark an outfield for the Indians and Cubs back in the day?
Multiple guys, Dave Clark.
Sure.
I definitely think that this idea that I'm having is a much more interesting idea than whatever union you're talking about that happened 20 years ago.
They had 2x4s at one point, I think.
This is a way that Paul Heyman has control and leverage in the WWE, which he does better than just about anybody. Let's be honest.
Okay.
And the refs themselves don't have to have that major role. We don't need the refs out there talking because they got Paul Heyman to do all that work for them. I think that's a great way. You then have somebody like Paul Heyman in charge of those instant replay results and maybe who is running that. More and more types of drama and storylines that can come out of that.
Okay, so Rod, Chris's idea for kind of jump-starting the WWE in the summer, getting a really hot angle there, is taking Paul Heyman away from the bloodline angle in which Solo Sikoa said he is now the head of the table to being in charge of the referees on TV. Your thoughts?
I mean, listen, I'm all with Chris that we want more Paul Heyman on TV. We want more
Yeah.
storylines involving Paul Heyman because of his ability to sell in the professional wrestling game. But here's a great idea for Paul Heyman. Just bring back Roman Reigns. Just bring back Roman Reigns. That's a great idea. That's going to get people talking. That's going to get headlines. That's going to get heat. That's going to get pops. That's going to get everything we want it to. Roman is not hurt. We understand that Roman doesn't show up all the time, but there's no reason he can't show up. We know we're not going to see Seth Rollins for a while because of injury. Other injuries we know about. Roman's just off. He can show back up anytime the WWE really wants him to. That's what I want to see Paul Heyman do.
Chris, in theory, your idea is not too bad. It'd be kind of funny to have Heyman come out and all the referees are standing behind him and he goes on this huge rant and he says, we're not going to do anything until we get some answers or we get some replay, because you love that replay, Chris. I think that's funny. I think that's a really nice way to segue into Rod. What are you hot about today?
Actually, I'm not hot about anything this week. I am grateful. I have gratitude. I need to send out a big shout out to our good friends, Adam and Sarah Lukenbill. This very Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre WrestleMania t-shirt I am wearing arrived in the mail here at Morgan, Central. I couldn't thank them enough for this wonderful extra large WrestleMania memento, and let that be a lesson to all of you out there in the listening universe. If you would like to come on the show as a guest, purchase me gifts and you will absolutely be lined up as a guest quickly. No, that's not true at all. I wanted Adam and Sarah on and they were nice enough to send me this t-shirt. And Jimmy, I got word that we may be able to get another first-hand account of SummerSlam from our on-field reporter, Sarah Lukenbill.
I love the fact that they love going to wrestling so much, and that's really cool to kind of get that firsthand perspective, seeing the behind the scenes, how everything went, how the hot dog lines, how's the merch table, what's going on with that.
And Chris, I must say, are you mad that I own a Drew McIntyre shirt now before you? Like, are you okay? Should we talk about this?
I'm really surprised that you're correctly identifying that shirt as a Drew McIntyre shirt and not a Seth Rollins shirt. So thank you for that, Rod.
Well, Drew McIntyre did win that match and was WWE champion for approximately 4 minutes. So I think that was pretty cool.
5 minutes and 46 seconds, Jim. All right. Show some respect.
Counting? You are. Speaking about showing some respect, we do have some news. Ricochet is going to be out of action for an undetermined amount of time after he got killed by Braun Breaker. So this was weird. It's set up like they're going to have a match because Ricochet actually got the best of Braun Breaker in the arena. Braun Breaker then spears him, an homage to Rey Mysterio, Kevin Nash. But the spear into the side of the truck wasn't the thing that killed him, Rod. It was the landing that probably hurt him more than anything.
I could not believe that. I legitimately thought when Braun, I was right there. I was thinking of Braun Strowman for a second, but when he threw him up and he hit the truck and then hit the floor, I thought we were going to flash to commercials because of the way that he hit the floor. I was like, oh my God. They absolutely did not see it going like that, and he just broke his back and or neck. We've got to go to commercials. And then, no, we absolutely did not have to. Ricochet gets up, walks himself over to a trailer, and then proceeds to get thrown through a car, which I said to you, and I want to stress this. I'm not saying it felt good for Ricochet to be sent through that car, but I believe that car had some cuts that were probably made on it. Some of the glass was ready to give way, and then it maybe even had an extra film on it so that none of the glass got stuck to them anywhere that we couldn't see. So it was rigged for that. But that floor wasn't rigged for that first throw that he took. I don't know how he survived.
Chris King, producer extraordinaire, by the way. Chris King, you're my man. I love you, brother. How scared were you because Rod and I were texting back and forth a little bit here. You can't gimmick concrete. That's in an actual parking garage.
Is it just me, or did that sound like a real, death groan from Ricochet after what seemed like 30 seconds of him laying still on the concrete, and then you hear that come out like that's his final breath. That was, I gotta say though, I think Ricochet loved that. I bet you he loved going out like that. Loved going out in a situation where everyone's going to be talking about it for days and weeks and years to come.
Yeah. So Ricochet is heading out. Apparently, Samantha Irvin went with him in the ambulance. So I bet you it was kind of cool for her to say Ricochet. Did she say Ricochet's name one last time? I can't remember on the mic. I don't know if she did.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they, you know
Anyway.
what I mean? They don't typically give her a big time ring for just regular matches. Sometimes there usually needs to be a belt on the line for her to do a big one or the main event.
Yeah. So he's gonna go probably to AEW, New Japan, somewhere like that. Will Ospreay did a nice little he walked by a big kind of like a big column that said Ricochet on it in one of the cities that he was in. So I thought that was interesting. We'll see. It's gonna be some great matches for him. Wish him the best of luck. Hopefully everything works out for him. Braun Breaker though is going real fast and he's doing real good. I think they are handling him the best they possibly can right now. Nothing.
Oh, no,
Chris?
you're 100% right. I mean, he is doing what, as a novice wrestling fan, I'll call myself, expects from a specimen like him when he's in the ring to be running through people, and that's what he's doing right now. Literally running through people. I mean, that double spear that he gave Dragunov the other night, like once outside the ring and then the big one inside the ring, was just phenomenal. Literally running through people.
Rod, would you say Dragunov is your like fourth favorite wrestler right now? Third
Oh
favorite
no,
wrestler,
Dragunov
maybe?
is he's easily my favorite wrestler right now, simply because you know how I like to say it has to be in the squared circle.
Gotcha.
So Charlotte
Okay.
Flair and Seth Rollins are currently not allowed to be up at the top. Roman Reigns as well, another one of my favorites, not allowed to be at the top right now because he is out of the squared circle. So
What about Tua Tagovailoa?
I've got to see a little bit more out of the Simone quarterback brothers. I got to see a little bit more out of those guys. But no,
I like that.
Dragunov, you give me a promo by Dragunov. You give me one of those cuts where people are trying to show me how much he can do in the weight room and how dedicated he is to it. Like just every inch of everything that comes off of Dragunov, I love. But Jimmy, can I please one dash of sour milk on the Braun Breaker story here, just to ask a question? Okay.
Yeah.
There are lots of physical specimens and great athletes and tough guys in the WWE. So the only problem I have when we're given a storyline like this is I'm like, well, how come all these other guys don't do this? And every single other guy that wants to do this could probably do it. And if all the guys acted this way, are we sure that Braun Breaker would be the guy that would come out on top and not somebody else who clearly seems to be a bigger dog in the yard? So while I love the storyline with Braun Breaker, it's just like, I also know it's fake, but like, okay, cool. This he's out of control and he's just pounding everybody down. Guess what? Every single person in that building can be out of control in a physical specimen.
No, they can't. That's the issue. That's the story, Rod. No one else can do that. Only he can do that. You may think people can do that, but they can't. It is Braun Breaker. He is the only one right now that they are pushing like that. He is the monster. And at some point, he is going to do this to Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman will get destroyed by Braun Breaker.
What other big guy could do that move he did versus Ricochet the other week when he jumped up onto the top rope, flipped around upside down, and then threw Ricochet across the ring with his legs?
I think Otis could do that. I think Otis could probably pull that off. I think we could at least give Otis a chance, right? Maybe, but no, honestly, in all honesty, don't you think a guy that we don't really like might have a chance at that? And that's Austin Theory, because he's incredibly athletic and can do some pretty fancy things out there. Not nearly as stacked up as Braun Breaker, but I think he's got that kind of athletic ability.
No, I'm thinking more along the lines of the people like Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, those big guys, Ivar. Like, those are the big guys who I think Jimmy's referring to.
Yeah,
as
but
far
Braun's
as
not
like
as big as those dudes. He's not as big as those dudes.
He's pretty darn close.
I mean, those guys are more, as Rod likes to say, girthy than Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is more just a solid, like, he's a linebacker, literally, and shorter than those guys a little bit, not as heavy, but really just compact, and that's what makes him so good. It really is.
No, it's fine, but where's it going though, Jim? All right, where's it going? Is he going to take this all the way to the top, right? Is he going to not be okay with anything Adam Pearce tells him until he gets a shot at one of the champions? Or is he going to be like, oh, cool, I'm the Intercontinental Champion, or now I'm the U.S. Champion, or I'm in a tag team again with my guy Baron Corbin? Like, where's it going to stop? How?
Is he a face or a heel? Because if he's your heel, he should go all the way to the top. Because there's nothing better, as we've seen this year, than a white meat babyface trying to overcome a dastardly heel. Okay.
I'll tell you right now, I don't see him as number one heel in the company, personally. I like
I
where
don't
he's
either
at
right
right
now.
now, but I don't see him as number one heel in the company type. He's probably better off as a babyface, ultimately.
He could be. He could be for sure. Speaking of
I
baby
d-
faces, go ahead. Go, no,
I
you're
was
good.
gonna say I don't think I need him to be either. I really don't need him to be a babyface or a heel, and I'm perfectly fine being in a spot where he's almost his own worst enemy, getting suspended, only getting back because someone wants a piece of him and he runs through him. Nothing's ever really on the line. He keeps getting in trouble. Like, I'm okay with that type of a storyline, at least for the time being.
So you know who'd
Can
be
be.
great for that? Ricochet. Too bad they're getting rid of Ricochet, because that was like every Ricochet storyline of the last 2 years. You just described right there, Chris.
We have a premium live event. Do we know what time this is, by the way, on Saturday?
I believe it's
Sometime in the
1
afternoon?
o'clock.
2.
In the
I thought it
Midwest,
was
is it 2? In the Midwest?
2 Eastern.
Jimmy, continuing my tradition of having concerts somehow on days of Saturday afternoon pay-per-views, I will be at the Kenny Chesney Zach Brown Band show in Chicago and missing most of this live.
I will be at a softball tournament. We
Shocker.
have, I know, shocking, in Columbus.
At least
You're at
it's-
softball and I'm at a concert. Those are both shocking things.
I know.
Softball in June is believable, Rod. All right. It's
Correct.
the softball in February and January we were kind of questioning.
I think we rightly questioned.
Yeah. And of course, we only have one game and it's at 4:00, which means we have to be there at 3 and we have to leave at 2. So that's when the PLE starts. Of course, on the PLE, we have the Women's Tag Team Championship, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, who actually had a match for the first time in about 6 months on Raw. And
I like these ladies, Jimmy. I like these
Shayna
ladies.
Baszler's
I
always
don't want to see
star. Oh, yeah.
them get busy. I don't want to see them not get. Oh well, that'd be another
Okay, now
podcast.
wait a
I
minute.
don't
That's a
want to
different-
see them
different
get
podcast.
buried. I don't want to see them get buried. All right, let's keep them involved in storylines. It's hard making heel female tag teams other than Damage Control. People are wearing thin on Damage Control. We need some Alba Fire and the other lady. I'm sorry, I forgot her name.
Isla Dawn. Chris, you want them to get busy or get beat?
I think you need Jada
Chris
and
ran
the
away from that one.
EST. The EST and Jada need to win this, right? And they need to be dominant because that's the story we're being told, right? Like,
yep.
there can't be any kind of denial there. So that's what's going to happen.
They'll win. I just don't want to see Alba and Isla. What's her name? Isla and Alba? Isla and Isla? Alba?
Yeah, Isla Dawn.
There you go. I don't want to see them only show up because we were across the pond, is all I'm saying, right? Like, let's get a nice return match for them and get them involved in something.
Oh, it's such a quick match, though. I think Bianca and Jade are going to win that one. And, we'll go on from there. Rod, you still there? Still with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. I got
She's
Bianca
so-
and Jade.
I think we got some connection thing going on, which is fine. No problem. We have Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn and Alpha Academy, let's be honest, versus Chad Gable. We're going to go to Rod last on this one. Chris, who you got in this one? Who's going to walk away?
I'm going to say Sami Zayn's going to walk away. Alpha Academy is going to crumble. We'll see Otis finally turn on Gable permanently. Sami still has the belt.
I'm going to say exactly the opposite of what you did. I think I've got Chad Gable winning the title here and Otis and Gable reaffirming their allegiance to each other. Rod.
Couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. That is absolutely what's going to happen here. Folks are going to be awfully, awfully mad and awfully, awfully disappointed in one Otis at the end of this match. And Chad Gable will finally be hoisting individual WWE gold. And I say applause to that, because he has done fabulous work for years. He has endured terrible characters and he's doing some of his best work ever right now. And when someone does that, you reward them. And quite frankly, my guy Sami Zayn does much better work climbing the mountain than he does at the top of the mountain.
Rod, Bailey and Piper Niven. Piper Niven's going to get a great, great ovation. Who's going to win the match, though? And will it be a good match?
No, it won't be a good match and Bailey will win.
I think it'll be better than we think. I think you're going to see a lot of the big spots from Piper. Bailey will come back. She'll definitely play babyface Piper, big heel here. But yeah, Bailey's going to win this match. There's no way Piper's winning it. Chris?
Yeah, part of me wants to root for Piper because I was a little bit surprised, I guess, happy. I don't know. Her little ring work with Bailey the other night wasn't bad to me. Like, I thought she did pretty well jawing back and forth with Bailey. So that gets me in her favor. So I am going to root for Piper. I don't have a history with Bailey except for Damage Control, and I'm not a fan.
I love the fact that you're actually just rooting for people. I think that's pretty cool.
I also
Chris,
love
really
Chelsea Green. I love Chelsea Green. So just continue to give me Chelsea Green. Let's figure out the Chelsea Green of it all here. Piper Niven is a way underrated wrestler, but Bailey.
Oh yeah, no question, very underrated. And something I don't think we've mentioned on the podcast, but we have the I Quit match for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. And Rod, this is not Rod Damnation of the Week. It's the next show, but tell me your thoughts about I Quit matches.
I Quit matches are just so ponderous, man. They're so tedious. They're just, you get to the point where, again, as I spoke about a little earlier, all of these guys are portrayed as warriors. Nearly every one of them has participated in a storyline where I can't quit. I'll never give up. I'm going to bring it to you always and forever. So that an I Quit match goes completely against that. Whoever quits ends up looking like a fool. So you basically go into the match knowing you're not going to get a straight finish. And Jimmy, you said it the best, and I'll let you continue from here. But the only way you can win an I Quit match these days is to basically threaten someone's family.
Yeah, and we did see a little bit of AJ's kid on SmackDown the other week. So who knows what's going to happen there? Maybe he goes over to Cody's family, daughter, wife, something like that. Maybe just sits next to him and looks mean. I don't know. That may not be the best thing for him to do. But the thing that I hate, Chris, is after like a suplex, a referee with a microphone says, "Do you quit? Do you quit?" If they would do it right, where they just go, and at the very end, someone yells, "I quit, I quit." That's fine, but it just gets over and repetitive. It's overly repetitive, Chris.
Yeah, it does. That's why you're going to hear an announcement on Saturday, right before this premium live event kicks off.
I love you, man.
We all know Hunter Hearst Hemsley listens to the Yeah We Know podcast.
Yes.
We're going to hear him make an announcement being like, listen, for this and all future premium live events, we will be instituting a instant replay on all unorthodox non-3 count matches. We will see this I Quit match where AJ Styles gets declared the winner because the referee believes that Cody said I quit. He gives the belt to AJ Styles. We come back on Monday with Triple H saying we have done the instant replay and Cody Rhodes did not say I quit. And there we are. Welcome to the 21st century WWE.
So wait a minute. Who said I quit then? Who said I quit?
Nobody, apparently.
No. Put it together. Put the story together. Who's going to say I quit? Who's going to be under the ring saying I quit? Come on.
I don't know who's going to be under the ring. I don't think
Me Chin.
Why not?
It's going to be Me Chin. It's actually going to be Me Chin.
I love it. Me Chin. How many times has Cody Rhodes said quit on microphone live?
That's what he did with Mankind
In the lead up to this. I bet you it's a lot. So I think that could be where they play a recording, kind of like they did with Mankind back in the day. That could definitely happen.
Our connections must be bad again, Jimmy, because I said
I'm
this.
sorry.
That's about with Mankind and The Rock. But that was also an I Quit match. Another reason why you don't like him. That was when The Rock began to make a turn, because like literally we went into that match liking The Rock. And then by the end of it, we're like, oh my God, he just hit Mankind in the head with the chair 23 times. Like, hey man, enough's enough. And so like you came out of it feeling a little bit icky. Another reason I Quit matches, not good. I'm not happy about this happening in Scotland. I don't know. I mean, are they trying to go back to like Warrior Braveheart days here, Jimmy? Why are we doing an I Quit match?
I think that's why they're doing it. It's just something different. They want to give the illusion that there's a chance that Cody Rhodes loses. No one's picking Cody Rhodes to lose this.
I just did. AJ Styles
Damien
walking out of
Priest,
that PLE with the belt.
Okay, but he's not going to lose, though. He's going to end up winning because of your instant replay. Hey, you know what? I got Pete Dunne's name changed. Anything can happen. Okay?
Facts.
Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Chris King, tell me what's going to happen and how much you're going to love every second of it.
I mean, this is
Dunne's name change.
this is what us Drew
wrong.
McIntyre fans have been wanting. We're going to have a straight up one-on-one match. No interference from some schlubs or some also rans that are in this faction. All right. It's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest one-on-one in Scotland. There can be no other scenario even thought of or dreamed of where Drew McIntyre doesn't come out on top in this. There'll be riots in Glasgow if Drew loses.
There actually might be riots if he loses.
Might be
Rod,
riots if he wins. You can't not do it because of riots. That's come on.
Yeah, there's gonna be riots if he wins too. What's the story here, Rod? How we gonna get CM Punk involved? What's going on?
That's exactly what's going to happen. All right. Is we are going to get some sort of another false finish, right? We are going to get CM Punk getting the best of Drew McIntyre again and driving Drew McIntyre even more and more crazy. And it is the one storyline in the WWE right now that they know has huge momentum, and they are going to keep stoking that fire until they ultimately pay it off, either at SummerSlam, maybe, depending on CM Punk's health, or maybe even later in the year. We'll try to milk it some more. I don't know, but I do not see a scenario where Drew walks out with the belt. Chris, I'm sorry. I scored merch from our guy first, and now I'm calling him our guy, but I don't see him walking out of there with the belt. And I also do not seeing it being a clean match, my friend. All right. I don't care what happened in the match before. There's no way the Judgment Day are going to get involved somehow, or a new member of the Judgment Day. Maybe this is my brutality. I mean, I don't know. You never know when the old Rhea might come back.
I was gonna ask, are we gonna see okay, so what's the next evolution in Liv and Dom? Are we gonna do a shower scene where Dom goes by their dressing room, she forgets the towel, he has to go take a towel to her? What's going on there?
I mean, it's got to be in the hotel room, right? Like that's where
Finn took the
That's
key.
a long week. I know.
Finn took the key.
Finn's a dirtball.
he's trying to protect Dom.
Is he trying to protect Dom, or is he trying to be the one that goes in and gives
Listen,
Liv the towel?
I admitted it here. Jimmy asked it. I would prefer to kiss Liv over everybody else in the WWE. So, like, I get it.
Oh, okay. I like that. Well, we
Do you
have
think, do you think it's possible that the demon showed up at Liv's room and not actually Finn Balor? Like, is that kind of like a workaround? You know what I mean? How they'd say, like, if it happened on a cruise ship or like in another state, like if Finn Balor just showed up as the demon and it wasn't actually him.
The alter ego. The alter ego is guilty, not you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anything to see the demon, right, Jim?
And with that, you've been listening to Yeah We Know Podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcast Network. You're in the ring with the greatest transition of them all, Rod, Jimmy, and Chris.
Oh, and remember, friends, there is wrestling content available on Peacock. And if you've never checked out the show, This Is Awesome with my guy, Greg Miller. Pretty good stuff there. Nice highlights, nice, current day WWE superstars talking about fun stuff. If you're ever hard up for wrestling, nice little 45 minutes. Always fun episodes. Check it out over on the Peacock.
And Logan Paul, it's L.A. Night. Yeah.
Welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. Jimmy, Rod, and Chris are here on the Morgan Knows Podcasting Network. Rod Morgan, Celtics fan, I need to know what you were going through the last 5 minutes of that game the other night.
No, Jimmy. We need to start here, okay? You and your son, Jackson Jamriska, did a live broadcast near the end of Game 3, and I happened to jump on Facebook and see the views number, and apparently we've been doing this wrong all along. All three of us are babbling on to no one, and getting your son, Jackson, involved nearly tripled, doubled, quadrupled, I don't even know, 500 centupled times the normal viewers we get. So, Jackson, God bless you. Please come back on the show. Get us some viewers. I am absolutely not surprised, Jimmy, Not surprised. Before the finals, I told you boys, Celtics in 5. Mavericks did not worry me. This Celtics team is better than they get credit for. They are about to be 80-20. If they win the game on Friday night, they will have won their 11th straight playoff game. They will end the playoffs 16-2. This is an all-time great team. Maybe not an all-time great top 20, top 25 player, but many, many very good players playing the right way. I love to see it. God bless the Celtics.
Chris, were you able to watch that, or are you just listening on the rabbit ears?
I mean, that's is this just, are we just going to be praising the Celtics this whole time?
Yeah.
I mean,
We have to be.
That feels like what we have to do, right? Like, as much as I hate it, let's talk about what this team is doing. All right. They're proving that they are deeper. They have better skilled players at every position, just about, except for maybe one. And that one guy has become a liability on defense for the Mavericks.
Easy,
and
Wendy.
It's
No, you're good.
it's become a real clear. You can't deny it at this point. Like, no one can deny that the Celtics deserve this championship, right? Like, they are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're showing how good they are. Finally, even if they like to give up those leads late in the fourth quarter and try to give all their fans heart attacks and make things interesting, they're still by far the superior team in the series.
So coming in last night, I had no idea. I just got home from work, and believe me, for the past hour, Jackson's been asking me where I was. Sitting down, seeing a 21-point lead, I said, this game's over. I think I actually said that. And from that on, it was like a 22-2 run. What worried me is it didn't seem like the Mavericks were playing that good a defense, and the Celtics just got scared. They made so many unforced errors. So many. It was really frustrating the entire time, but they were still able to win.
Listen, when you're watching a Celtics game out there, right? Like game 4, for instance, right? And like these Celtics peaks and valleys, there's one way to see it go down on the court, okay? And I describe it this way. The ball gets sticky, all right? When the Celtics start holding on to the ball, and Jalen or Jason or Drew or anybody else, frankly, Peyton Pritchard sometimes, right? Or even Sam Hauser is just kind of dribbling around, holding on to the ball, looking for their shot. Things don't happen. But when the Celtics are moving the ball, boom, pass, cut. They're getting open shots in the paint, or they're getting wide open 3-pointers in the corner. Or, when the Celtics move the ball, they are very, very tough to stop because, as Chris said, they have skilled guys at all positions. So pick your poison, right? You try to double one way, you're going to get burned another way. But when the Celtics get holding on to the ball and sticky, and anytime Jason Tatum has the ball with about 12 seconds, he, for some reason, and shout out to Bill Simmons, I've heard him say this before, but he thinks the shot clock ends at 10 seconds and he fires up that fadeaway 3-pointer every time. So when the Celtics start doing that, runs happen, but when they're passing the ball around the perimeter, they can't be beat.
So going to the Mavericks real quick here, everyone's destroying Luka for his defense, and rightfully so. I was kind of impressed that he stopped shooting and he started passing a lot more down the stretch because he knew he didn't have it. And as soon as he fouls out, Kyrie Irving, I told Jackson on stream, he's going to do hero ball stuff because he thinks he needs to do that. And he did that fadeaway 3-pointer that he thought he got fouled on. He probably did get fouled on, but that's okay. You knew that wasn't going to happen. You knew they were going to lose just because they gave it up. So kudos to Luka for that, but you got to play defense in this league to win, and the Celtics are proving that right now.
Can you give Luka kudos for that?
He
fouled out with 4 or 5 minutes left in the game because he was starting to be lazy, not caring. Him passing the ball may just have been him more of not caring and not trying to work. Like, listen.
2 of his fouls, too, Chris, speaking of that, 2 of his fouls were just anger fouls where he immediately just swiped at a guy after he missed a shot. You can't be doing that stuff when you're the best player on the floor.
I also don't think you can call all these things unforced errors or unforced turnovers. We got to talk about what I love in basketball: defense. All right. And what Boston's been doing to Dallas is pretty remarkable. All right. Because it doesn't matter what kind of offensive set the Mavericks are throwing at Boston. Boston has it covered. They aren't giving up those swing passes. They are staying on those other three guys outside of Luka and Kyrie to not allow them to get open shots. Their wide open threes were like 25% lower than their season average in this series so far. Boston is forcing them to convert 90% of all their possessions in the half court offense, which Dallas doesn't do as well. So like this defense has created real problems for Dallas and has showed them a lot of issues they have, especially with their other three, their other 3, 4, 5 guys after Luka and Kyrie.
This series is over, Rod. I don't think that. I think it's.
Here's the thing, Jim. With Zinger out, right? With the Zinger out, Dallas had a chance in Game 3. They had a chance in Game 3 when they were mounting that comeback. Dallas could have won Game 3. Maybe you sneak away with Game 4 as well in your home, and you got another series because you got Kristaps Porzingis out, and Al Horford's going to get progressively more tired as the series goes on. But now you have 3-game deficit. Al Horford can go all out for at least 2 more games, and you got to figure the Celtics is going to get one of the next 2. So absolutely, Jimmy, the series is over.
Only 32 people have documented the same injury as Kristaps Porzingis. That's amazing. And of course, as the Celtics fans say, of course he's 33. Of course, 33, obviously, number there. Guess how many people are struck by lightning in the United States a year, Rod?
It's like less than 33, isn't it? Like 6, 7?
No. Struck by lightning is 300 people a year are struck by lightning. 10 times as many people are struck by lightning than have the Kristaps Porzingis injury. That's how rare this is.
Right, but it's not that rare for Porzingis to have an injury. Listen, God bless him for playing the first 2 games because he gave the Celtics the spark they needed to probably
Game 1 was him. Yep.
It's ultimately, because I just don't see any way, like, even if Dallas wins the next 2, I just don't see a circumstance where this Celtics team that I just said to you has won 10 straight playoff games and only lost 2 the entire playoff series is about to lose 4 straight. I just don't see that happening. As much as I know the Celtics have a tendency to play with their food, Chris, because I see it. I see it in your eyes down there. I've known you too long. You're not 100% confident, and you're ready for me to have to eat my words here. But come on, 4 straight, that's not happening.
No one's coming back. Like, listen, and this is the biggest if that could be out there because this has never happened before in an NBA, right? Rose came back from 3-0, so it's not going to happen. But if it does, it would be the biggest storyline in the history of the NBA, would it not? That would be something more remarkable than anything I've seen since I started watching the NBA.
The team that then gets beat that way fell just short of doing the same thing themselves the year before in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. And we might have we might hear Dan Hurley talks to going to Boston instead of back to UConn.
I do like what Mazzulla's been doing for Boston, though. All right, showing him UFC fights, showing guys getting choked out, and the guy who's choking out the guy letting up, thinking he has it won, and then the other guy recovering and causing issues. And that's something that Boston
that gave him ideas, though. That gave him ideas for yesterday. That's exactly what they did. They let up. They already had the parade.
Rod, they've been doing that all year, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, Joe Maz is an absolute psychopath, and we need more psychopaths in the coaching ranks of the NBA, all right? Joe Maz is entertainment. Let's go. He watches The Town like 8 times a week. I mean, this is just not a normal individual. Let's go.
No, he's not at all. Some sad news in the NBA, too. The logo has passed away. Not a good month for NBA legends. Jerry West passes away. Doc Rivers had some really nice things to say on the Bill Simmons podcast recently, and Simmons wrote some things as well. It's amazing how you go from always being the top of your game, no matter what you do in your profession, whether you're a player or an executive. Terrific all around. He got Kobe. He got Lakers championships as he got Clippers. He worked for the Clippers. He did a good job there. But no, Jerry West was, well, I mean, again, he's a logo, Rod.
Yeah, and the other part I love about Jerry West life that sometimes will get left out because you're absolutely right to point out the NBA success. That's the reasons that we all know him. But he
Yep.
is a good old-fashioned American success story too, man. You look at the West family tree from the hollers of West Virginia and like where that guy came out of to where he ended up later in his life and the generational wealth that he then provided for his family and generations of his family that were connected to all of that. That's pretty amazing, man. It proves what hard work and definitely a little bit of talent and maybe even a little bit of luck, but it still proves what hard work, talent, and luck can pull off for you here in America.
Chris, Logo, you were there when he was born.
I mean, listen, I may have been around. I don't think I was in the hollers of West Virginia back then. But Rod's not wrong. Like, listen, this is a kid who did not have anything given to him. All right. Poor, abusive family. All right. Went to the gym and worked hard to get away from that type of thing. And like it paid off. And here's a guy that's not only just was immensely talented, but like he has proven over and over again, doesn't matter what he's doing in his life, he becomes successful. This guy is going to be a 3-time basketball Hall of Fame inductee. All right. That hasn't been done, right? He's 3-time, 3 different ways. This guy has reinvented himself and came in and said, like, okay, I'm the best at it. Like, and we are acknowledging it. Like, it's insane. And it is why Kobe continued to say he was one of his top 5 because of how much knowledge and everything basketball Jerry West was. And it's unbelievable the impact that he's had on the game. And it was a very sad day for all of basketball.
And the ability to know when you're not the guy, another important part of leadership. Let's not forget Jerry West said, no, I'm not the right man to coach. This guy, Pat Riley, over here is the right guy to coach. Turns out that was the right call, too.
That was a good call there. Luka is frustrated by the officials, so he just wants to go and have fun. I think it was Jaylen Brown, like a minute left. The game was kind of over, right? One of the Mavericks went to hit a 3. Jaylen Brown grabbed his arm in front of the official, or was it Derek White? Anyway, grabs his arm, looks at the official, goes, hi, fouling him. Let's go. Official doesn't call it. And the guy, he missed the 3, but what is going on still? I know
that's because Joe Maz is a psychopath. He's over there yelling at his team, foul him because 2 free throws is better than a 3-pointer. Joe Maz is not going to stop till they get a championship because he's seen the town and he knows that to pull off the Boston Fenway robbery, you got to have the plan to a T because the minute something goes wrong, the feds are waiting on you and everybody's foiled.
For Dallas's hope, if you're a Mavs fan, you need to pray that Luka comes out and wants to have fun, all right? Because if he's out there having fun, that's when he's his most dangerous, all right? Let's be honest. If he's out there smiling, he's dropping 50-plus probably and making everybody look foolish.
And finally, it looks like J.J. Redick is interviewing for the Lakers job again, maybe. I'm not sure what that is. Apparently, J.J. Redick also interviewed for the Hornets job, so he does want to coach. It's just not the Lakers. Is this where we're going, Rod? It looks like it is.
Absolutely, it is. This whole Dan Hurley thing didn't have anything to do with the Lakers. All right, this whole Dan Hurley thing had a lot to do with Shams v. Woj, and it had a lot to do with the Lakers trying to control the price on JJ Redick. I believe Bill Simmons's sources and Mr. Simmons sniffed this one out on his most recent podcast, and he tends to be right way more often than he tends to be wrong. So I'm not entirely sure how interested Dan Hurley ever was in coaching the Lakers. And the Lakers should quite frankly be ashamed of themselves that a college coach didn't go running away from a program. I don't care how successful that college program is. You're supposed to be the Los Angeles Lakers. And this guy just said, no, thanks, Hollywood. I'm going to stay here in Storrs, Connecticut. Lakers.
It's the second time it's happened to LA. They did it back in 2004 with Krzyzewski. They tried to lure him away from Duke. But listen, if you are a college coach like Krzyzewski or Hurley right now, where you are in complete control of your entire program and by default, the athletic program of that school, that's a whole lot of power to walk away from, even if they are doubling your salary. All right. I'd be hard pressed for me to walk away from a situation where, oh, you mean I have a chance to do something that no one since John Wooden has done. And I have complete control over everything, including getting the players that I want and only those players that I want. How could you walk away from that?
Well, it's the wild, wild west right now. You don't know what with paying players and the transfer portal. So I think that would be a reason. At least with the NBA,
UConn's got that money. He doesn't have to worry about it there.
I think Huey Lewis said it best, Chris. LA, Hollywood, in the Sunset Strip is someplace that I want to be. All right. I think Huey Lewis said it best. All right. Sometimes it's just cost of living, my friend. And you can talk about basketball all you want. But if I had the chance right now to get a high paying job in LA and it would take me up out of Mishawaka, bye Mishawaka. I'll be in LA for a high paying job.
I'll be in LA for a low paying job. Speaking of low paying jobs, you have been listening to the NBA Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. Rod, Chris, Jimmy, we appreciate you listening. Thank you very much. And of course, Chris.
Goodbye, Internet.